Okay, so for one thing is insecure people feel a constant need to validate their own worth through other people's opinions. Why do we need that? Why do we need to change ourselves for other people just because they have a certain opinion and it affects us? Why do we need that?
First question, how was discrimination treated when you were in school?
There wasn't any.
There was no discrimination
I didn't
at all?
find any, no.
Okay. And how about insecurities? So was there any ways you can cope with that?
No,
Nothing?
no, it's fine. It was
Okay.
a good time.
For those who are suffering from insecurities and discrimination, what do you have to say for positive reinforcement?
Oh, jeez. You're getting deep. I don't know. For them to look forward, things that get better can get better.
Awesome. Thank you.
I am here with
Serena?
I'm just gonna be asking you a few questions. Is that all right?
Yep.
Okay. For one, what is like the most advice like you can give to someone who is having troubles like trying to be themselves?
Having troubles trying to be themselves. Wow, okay. I don't know, be yourself. Like what's holding you back from being yourself? Like don't try to be like anybody else, just be you and do you. It's easier when you get older though too.
Thank you.
That's it, okay.
Yeah.
So first question, how is high school back in your, like when you were in high school? Like how is the discrimination treated?
Wow, well, I'm old, so it was. You basically had to be
Yeah.
kind of like straight, normal, and not emotional. Otherwise, you were odd. Also, I grew up in Scotland, so
Oh,
it's
okay.
different over there.
Yeah, and how, when you had insecurities or were feeling discrimination, how would you help yourself to not feel like that? How would you escape from that?
At that time, I wouldn't have known. I would have just kept it inside, really.
Okay. Thank you.
Hello, I'm here with.
Jeannie and Sophia.
I have a few questions for you. How was your high school life? Was there any discrimination, and how did you deal with that?
Maybe
Wow,
do you wanna
that's a
do
great
that one?
question.
I feel like mine was okay. I don't feel like there was any discrimination, but I will say like it wasn't like a very multicultural school where I went for sure. There's things about high school. There were definitely like cliques, and I know some girls that I was friends with definitely got bullied from older girls based on like guys they hung around with and things like that. But yeah, that's just my experience.
And then how about you?
Yeah, I would have to agree. I didn't feel there was too much discrimination when I was in high school. But I think that if I think about how things are maybe now with social media, then things have changed.
Awesome.
And there might be more.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
How is discrimination treated when you were in high school?
I don't recall it being treated when we were in high school. I don't recall any kind of discrimination going on.
Okay.
Weird.
And what about insecurities? How is that?
Well, we had groups of friends. You just kind of stayed within your group and dealt with your insecurities that way. You didn't really, cliques and stuff like that. So
How else would you say you were able to cope with insecurities and still keep going forward?
well, I think it just depended a lot on my friendships and the people that I had kept in my inner circle.
And if there's anything you could say to others who are dealing with discrimination or insecurities, is there anything you would like to say?
Just there's a lot of help out there nowadays compared to what there used to be. I would say access all the help you can, and I guess that's it.
Awesome. First question, how is discrimination treated when you were in high school?
It was a pretty silent subject. It wasn't something that we really heard a lot about at the time. And we're going back 50 years, so
Okay.
actually 60 years. Shoot, yeah.
So how is insecurities? Was there any ways that you could go and escape from it? If there's any way you can cope with it, how would
mean
you?
personal insecurities?
Personally, and helping others that you may have encountered.
It wasn't discussed a lot, but it was visible, and with some, you could see that. Well, even with any teenager going through the angst of being a teenager, it's pretty awful at times. But I can think of people that, a couple of people who were bipolar, and it was just never heard of until they were hospitalized, and they were really sick, and it just wasn't discussed. And as far as insecurities, I think we talked to good friends then. In those days, it wasn't all about counseling. It wasn't all about reaching out to strangers. It was about trusting your friends to help you through the rough periods.
Awesome. And if you could say anything to help someone else right now, what would you say to help them for their insecurities?
I would tell them that they're a child of God, and God doesn't make any junk, and that they are blessed to be here, and all things will work for good.
Awesome.
That's
Thank
what I
you.
tell.
And for you, kind sir, what was discrimination? What was discrimination like for you when you were in high school?
I guess there was some, but richer kids and poorer kids. There was a difference there, but most people were happy, you know, and they enjoyed life, you know. And when I was young, we used to do a lot of hiking and biking and going quite a ways from the home, and that our parents had no idea how far we were from them, and we had a good time. So it never really cropped up that much. There may have been issues with people that had alcohol problems or something like that, but we made the best of it and dealt with it. You know, we went to families. If we had issues and stuff, we had help from our families or friends that we had. That's about it, I guess.
And what about insecurities? Was there any insecurities, and how would you be able to cope with that or help others?
Well, like my wife said, we go to the Bible for that, and all the answers are there. Believe it or not, they're all there, and He's there waiting for you to reach out. He's reached out to us.
And we had trust issues. I was a child of an alcoholic. There was a lot of discrimination, a lot of gossip, a lot of hurt, but you can't change it. You just have to roll with it.
Yeah.
And trust.
Yeah, trust is a big issue.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then is there anything you would like to say to those who are having troubles with it?
You spend a whole time counseling someone Sunday, whatever.
Yeah. Just if you know somebody who's in trouble, if you can help them out, you help them out. And but
You got to be a soft place to fall.
Yeah.
Right?
Plus, I think you should find a Bible-believing church and connect to a family there. Because the families in the churches, you know, you can depend on them. You know, when you don't have anybody else, they're there for you. You know, so that's how.
We're sounding like a couple of religious fanatics, but we're not. We've both come from very sad backgrounds, and you know who you can rely on, and you know who you can trust, and you can always trust God, and that's the end of it. It's really simple.
Yeah. Sometimes it's so simple. An intellectual says it's too simple, it can't be true, but it is. It's true.
Many insecure people are inconsistent talkers. So by being insecure and letting other people get to you, you're actually affecting not only yourself, but others, because you're not able to talk. And so there's a lot more social anxiety nowadays because of your own insecurities. So by doing that, it's also affecting the way we work today and how jobs are going. Like, it doesn't matter like if it's just a tiny bit of insecurity, but it'll affect the way you can speak and socialize.
First question, how was discrimination treated when you were back in school?
There was a lot. Yes, I'm ashamed to say so.
Okay. And then insecurities, how would you deal with it back when you were in high school or in college even?
I don't even think you thought about it. You just went on your way.
Okay. And if you met someone today who needed help because of how insecure they were, what would you say to them?
I'd see if I could get them help.
Okay.
People who are insecure experience a lot of fear. Anger, you see, is because there has been a trigger, and the anger is because there has been a trigger, and the anger is a response to protect themselves. So in order to protect themselves from feeling insecure and vulnerable, they start to lash out and be more angry, and because they're trying to protect themselves. They don't want to feel that hurt that they have been experiencing, or they're trying to get rid of it.
First question, how was discrimination treated when you were in school? When
we
you were in school, how is discrimination treated?
Well, I'll go first. So, I mean, I was in school in the early 50s, and so I grew up in a little town, so we were just very, I'm sorry to say, but very waspy. You know, there weren't, I mean, there were different nationalities, but honestly, I don't recall when I was growing up any issues. I mean, we grew up in a town where you could leave your doors open. Everybody knew it. They knew your business, but they were there for you. So I don't recall any issues, but it was a different time. So
Yeah.
Sandra,
And then for you?
how about you?
Well,
She grew up in Greece.
I grew up in Greece, and a very small town. I didn't witness any of that, so
Okay.
it was very normal kind of. And you look lovely.
Aren't
Thank
you freezing though?
I
I'm
love
good.
your dress. You look
Thank
fantastic.
you.
Yeah, it's adorable.
Another thing is, for insecurities, if someone was dealing with insecurities and didn't know how to cope with it, what would you say to them right now?
If they were feeling insecure about something and they didn't know how to cope, I would probably just spend time talking to them, making them feel more positive about themselves, that everybody deals with situations like that, and just to get to learn to accept themselves. And I always used to tell, I have 2 daughters, and I always said you have to be your own best friend and love yourself first before anybody else. So learn to love yourself. Yeah. So.
And you? Anything to add?
I think Linda said it all.
Yeah,
I
you would feel
try
the same,
to talk
right?
to them and
Yeah.
reassure them and make them feel better, that kind of a thing. Yeah.
So in conclusion, be you, be free, don't worry about everyone else. Don't. Okay? They're gonna do what they want to do. Okay? And that is okay. Everyone is built differently. Everyone was born differently for a different purpose. Don't copy someone else. That's someone else's story. That's not yours. Be you. Write your own story. Don't be a character in a story. Be the author. Okay? Don't let someone else write your own story.